Big news is on the horizon, and the countdown has already begun. We are now only weeks away from a wave of financial relief that could put real money, thousands of dollars in some cases, directly into the hands of millions of Americans. These aren't just ordinary updates. These are potential rebate checks and supplemental payments that could change the daily financial lives of countless people across the country. If you receive Social Security, SSDI, SSI, or VA benefits, this news could mean more breathing room in your budget and less worry about stretching each dollar until the end of the month. With the cost of living still high and so many seniors struggling to cover rent, food, medication, and utilities, the timing of this announcement could not be more critical. Welcome to Truth Lens, the channel dedicated to giving you the information the mainstream media doesn't always explain clearly. Here we break down complex financial updates in a way that truly matters for everyday Americans, especially our seniors and those living on fixed incomes. I know that many of you watching this are finding it harder and harder to make ends meet. Some of you are choosing between groceries and prescriptions. Some of you are trying to stretch every penny just to keep the lights on. That's why these updates are not just numbers or government announcements. They're about your dignity, your security, and your ability to live without the constant fear of running out of money before the month is over. Now, you may be asking, is this really happening? Why haven't I heard about this before? That's the very reason this video is so important. The truth is, while the headlines may give you bits and pieces of information, the full story isn't being explained the way it should be. These rebate checks are part of a broader economic relief effort that has been developing behind the scenes for months, and now it's finally starting to roll out. Now, if you don't know the details, you could easily miss out on money that could make a big difference in your household budget. The first question everyone wants answered is, who exactly qualifies for these payments? The good news is that this program is surprisingly inclusive. If you're receiving Social Security retirement benefits, SSDI, SSI, or VA benefits, you are already very likely to qualify. But here's what's even more surprising. Even people who don't currently receive these benefits may still be eligible depending on their circumstances. This isn't one of those programs with a narrow set of requirements that leaves most people out. Instead, it's structured to reach as many Americans as possible, especially those struggling to keep up with rising costs. Let's talk about numbers because that's what matters most to those living paycheck to paycheck. These aren't small payments of a few dollars. The estimates range anywhere from $15 at the lowest to several $1,000s at the highest, depending on eligibility factors and your specific situation. For many seniors, that kind of money could cover several months of medication, utility bills through the winter, or even an overdue car repair that you've been putting off because of the cost. Even better, these payments are not expected to affect your current Social Security at SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits. That means this is additional support on top of what you already receive each month for people already struggling. That distinction matters a great deal. There's also another layer of opportunity many don't realize. Your state of residence could play a huge role in the amount you receive. Some states are offering supplements that could boost your rebate amount by as much as 30%. That means two people with similar situations living in different states could end up with very different payment amounts. For those of you who have been receiving Social Security benefits for at least the past year, the system already has much of your information, which could make the process smoother. But in some cases, certain steps may be required to ensure you receive the maximum amount you're entitled to. For SSDI and SSI recipients, this program has some unique provisions. Many people in these groups don't realize they may qualify for supplemental payments on top of the base rebate that could turn a modest check into something far more impactful. Veterans receiving VA benefits are also included, with special recognition given to the unique challenges faced by those who served. There are even specific rules and deadlines tailored for VA recipients, which means it's especially important to understand how this program works if you fall into that category. Now, the timing of these payments is another reason this is such a major story. The first wave of payments is only weeks away, but not everyone will receive their money at the same time. The rollout is being done in phases, and the group you fall into will determine when your payment arrives. Understanding this schedule could help you plan your budget and know when to expect that financial relief. Some of you may be worried about taxes. It's a fair question. Will these rebate checks increase your tax burden? The answer, thankfully, is favorable. These payments are being structured in a way that avoids creating heavy tax implications. That means the majority of seniors and benefit recipients will be able to keep and use the full value of their payment. This is especially important for seniors living on limited incomes who cannot afford any surprises when tax season comes around. And here's a real example that shows just how powerful these payments could be. A subscriber I spoke with recently thought they might qualify for only a small amount, but once we reviewed the details, it turned out they were eligible for nearly double what they expected. Why? Because they hadn't realized that certain qualifying factors like dependents and state level supplements could stack together. Instead of receiving a modest payment, they're now anticipating a check that could help cover several months of rent. Of course, whenever there's money involved, there are scams. Already people are creating fake websites and sending fraudulent emails claiming to help seniors get their rebate checks faster. It's heartbreaking to see scammers targeting people who are already financially vulnerable. That's why it's so important to know how the real process works and how to protect yourself from anyone promising shortcuts. Another key detail is how these payments interact with other benefits. For example, if you receive both Social Security and VA benefits, your eligibility could be impacted in unique ways. The interaction between programs is important to understand because it could affect your final payment. On top of that, these rebate checks may unlock eligibility for other financial assistance programs. I've already seen examples of seniors who thought they were only getting a $2,000 rebate, but then discovered they also qualified for food assistance and utility support programs, pushing their total relief to over $5,000. The program also includes special provisions for people with disabilities. Whether you're receiving SSDI, SSI, or you have a disability but aren't currently on benefits, there are specific details written into this initiative that could directly benefit you. And for those of you with dependents, children, grandchildren, or disabled adult dependents, the presence of dependents could significantly increase the amount of your rebate check. Let's not forget about the practical side of preparation. If you've recently moved or changed bank accounts, making sure your information is up to date is critical to avoid delays. And for those who manage benefits on behalf of someone else, like an aging parent, there are special considerations you need to be aware of to ensure their payment is processed correctly. What makes these rebate checks so different from other government programs is the flexibility they give you. There are fewer restrictions on how the money can be spent, meaning you can decide what's most important, whether that's groceries, medications, rent, or simply catching up on bills you've fallen behind on. Finally, there's even an appeals process in place. If you believe you were underpaid or wrongly denied, you will have a chance to challenge that decision. That means you're not powerless if something doesn't look right when your payment arrives. As we move closer to the rollout, remember this. These rebate checks are more than just financial relief. For many seniors and struggling Americans, they represent peace of mind, stability, and a chance to breathe a little easier. At Truth Lens, we'll continue to follow this story closely and keep you updated on every development so you never miss the information that could change your financial situation. If you found this update helpful, make sure you like this video, share it with anyone who might benefit, and subscribe so you don't miss the next update. In the comments, let's talk. What would these rebate checks mean for you personally? For so many of you, this isn't just another news story, it's survival, it's relief, and it's hope for a better tomorrow.